Dies Lied ist aus der Sehnsucht süßer Strahl.
I stole the wine, didn't you, runt?
No, I didn't, I swear!
Let me see what I can do to squeal it.
I didn't do it, I swear! Fine!
Come in.
Reporting for work, sir.
Relax, son. This isn't the academy.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sullivan will do just fine. I think you'll find that the COI is a bit more informal than your other branches of government. Now, let's set you to work. Some city detectives sent this complaint over to us. It should be pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about the assignment, don't hesitate to ask. The door's always open, son.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sullivan.
What is it, Mr. Pearson? Oh, yes, of course, your office. It's across the hall, and please forgive the mess. Your predecessor departed rather unexpectedly, and we're still short-staffed and haven't had a chance to clear it out for you. Well, I hope you can handle things on your own. It's something you're going to have to get used to with the COI.
President Roosevelt had just authorized the formation of the COI that summer. They were supposed to be the outfit that handled the real spy stuff overseas. It was the place to be if you wanted real adventure. At least that was the bill of goods the recruiters for the COI sold me. And here I was, stuck in a crummy old office, in Cleveland of all places, as far away from any real action as I could imagine. Sir, what happened to the fellow I'm replacing?
Walter Pensky. Good man. And a good agent. Once. The job got the better of him.
I imagine he must have been under a lot of pressure, sir.
We all are these days. Just remember, Mr. Pearson, we follow orders, not personal crusades.
I will, sir. I have a question about this case file, sir.
Certainly. What is it?
Sir, this munitions owner, Mr. Finster, is there anything you can tell me about him that wasn't in the report?
Hank Finster is an interesting case. He's an important man with the fellows in the Defense Department on account of the munitions factories he owns. But he's not wound all too tight, if you catch my meaning. Well, it's always one thing after another with him. If it isn't the unions, it's the Reds. If it isn't the Reds, it's the Nazis. But he may have something there. Take a look at that invitation. What do you make of it?
This invitation's a little odd, and I bet it didn't come cheap. I'd wager this Brotherhood's pretty well set, whoever they are. And I don't imagine they're out to recruit just anyone.
Good eye, son. It's a fascist tract, all right, but it's one that's aimed at the high-born in our society. Whoever's behind this, they're likely to have some backing, and that's going to make your investigation all the more dangerous. You'll need to be careful.
I will, sir. Who handled this case when it first came in, sir?
A city detective named Marillo. I guess he's got his hands full now. He's handling the torso murders investigation. Terrible work, that. They found another one just yesterday.
Come in.
Excuse me, Detective Marillo? I'm Jim Pearson. I'm from the COI. I'm here about Mr. Finster's complaint.
The what? This had better be good, kid. I'm up to my neck in murders.
You were the detective that handled Mr. Finster's complaint?
Finster? Oh, yeah, Finster. I remember him now. Listen, kid. If I had a nickel for every so-called Nazi spy in this city, I would be a very rich man.
So you don't think his complaint was legitimate?
Ever since you secret agent types start stirring people up about Nazi spies, every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a beef about his neighbors has been into my office. You care to take a guess how many of them panned out?
Well, what did your investigation reveal? Was there anything to the invitation? You did investigate this, didn't you?
Now listen, Sonny! There's a butcher on the loose in my city. I didn't have time. Hey, isn't that sort of thing your job now? I don't have time to babysit another Fed.
Detective, I understand you must be very busy right now.
You don't understand nothing! Every day, it seems, we find another body or a part of a body. We don't have enough good leads, and we don't have enough men to cover this case. And on top of that, I got some horse's ass from the Federal Bureau of Investigation looking over my shoulder trying to tell me how to do my job.
I'm sorry to have bothered you, Detective. I'll be on my way.
This case is gonna be the death of me yet. For what it's worth, kid, Finster had a look at the mugshot books. He said he spotted the Joe what handed him that screwy invitation. I think he even marked the books and everything. You can have a look through them if you think it'll help.
Thank you, Detective. Are you any closer to catching the torso killer?
That sick son of a bitch has been too clever.
How's that?
Well, for starters, he's not leaving enough behind for us to identify. Our best guess is he's cutting up bums and whores, people nobody'd miss. Takes them apart real clean, too, like a doctor. 2 whacks and he's through them. The queerest thing is, he bleeds them dry, washes them clean, and wraps them up like a butcher, all nice and neat in newspapers. It's like nothing I've ever seen, and I've seen plenty.
I'm sure it's only a matter of time before something breaks through.
Oh, you got that right. His kind always slips up. And when he does, bang! I'm gonna be right there on top of him.
Hasn't the FBI been able to give you any relief with the torso investigation?
That's a good one, kid. Elliot Ness has saddled me with a junior A G-man named Winslow, who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. About all he's done is look pretty in his fancy suits for the photo boys and flapped his gums to the reporters about how he is gonna catch that killer.
This must be the one Finster looked through.
Excuse me, could you tell me where Mr. Finster's office is?
He's up there. You're welcome.
Excuse me, Mr. Finster? Jim Pearson from the COI. I've been assigned to investigate your complaint.
What the hell took you so long? I guess all my calls to Mayor Lausch finally got you guys off your cans.
What can you tell me about this Brotherhood, Mr. Finster?
What can I tell you? Oh, what makes you think I can tell you anything? But I'll tell you what it is, though. It's a Nazi conspiracy is what it is.
No, what makes you say that, Mr. Finster? The invitation has no swastikas, no insignia, no clear-cut signs of Nazi involvement.
Now, you mark my words, young man. This is a Nazi conspiracy, or my name isn't Henry W. Finster.
I'm gonna need some hard facts before I'm able to make that stick with my superior, sir.
Where do they find you guys? What do they just pull you out of a pumpkin patch? It's right before your eyes. Those screwy symbols.
You recognize the symbols on that invitation?
I've seen them all over Germany.
When were you in Germany, Mr. Finster?
Now, don't you give me that look.
Mr. Finster, I...
There is nothing wrong with Germany. My grandparents were born in Deutschland. We still have family there. The German people are upstanding, hard-working, God-fearing folk, and the American worker could learn a thing or two from them. The only thing wrong with Germany is that Austrian peasant and his gang of street thugs.
My apologies, Mr. Finster. I am only trying to establish the facts in the case.
Okay. It's been 15, 20 years now since I've been there. But I will never forget those symbols.
Do you have any idea what those symbols mean?
Of course not. I would never have anything to do with that sort of thing.
What do you remember about the man that gave you that invitation, Mr. Finster?
He was a no-good bum, I remember that.
Do you remember his name?
I think I employed a Nazi sympathizer right here in my own factory.
He was an employee of yours?
Of course not. I don't hire Nazis.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. Who's the Nazi?
Why did they send a boy to do a man's job? What are they trying to do, drive me crazy?
Wait just a minute, Mr. Finster. That's not called for.
My foreman, George Hansen. I used to think he was a good man. Well, drinks a little bit too much, but he's a hard worker. Well, anyway, how am I supposed to know he traffics with Nazis? Well, he brings this riffraff right through my doors, into my factory, right into my office. He could have killed me. He was standing as close to me as you are right now. Well, naturally, I fired him on the spot.
Riffraff.
No, you idiot. George Hansen. Haven't you been listening to a word I said?
Do you remember the name of the man that gave you that invitation?
Of course not. He never mentioned it. He said he was just a messenger.
Can you describe this messenger for me?
I already described him to that detective. Look, I even picked his photograph out of one of their books. Oh, but he didn't care. All he was interested in was that vagrant killer. Well, if you ask me, he's doing this city a big favor.
I wouldn't know anything about that, sir. Can you describe him again for me, please? For my benefit.
You know, if you guys had done your work in the first place, you'd already know this. Yeah, he looked like a killer. Real mean, squinty eyes, red hair, and the bushiest red beard you'd ever want to see. Hey, there's no mistaking this guy.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find this messenger?
Of course not.
Okay, what about this other fellow, the foreman?
Well, I used to live in company housing, but I had him evicted, of course.
You have any idea where I might be able to find him?
A man of my standing doesn't fraternize with his workers. Although, I have been told that George likes to throw his money around a lot on payday. The men, they like this cheap whiskey saloon in the Roaring Third. McGilly's, McGarrity's, some kind of Mick name. McGinty's, that's the name of it, McGinty's.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified. Meanwhile, in news from around the world, our boys at sea captured an Axis ship in equatorial waters. The Axis vessel...
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to be...
I never heard of him.
Listen, buddy, I'm not trying to cause any trouble for you. I just need a little help trying to find a friend of mine.
Yeah, friend, huh? Look, I got nothing to do with no lousy feds. Now, why don't you do me a favor and scram, huh? And while you're at it, take that friend over there with you. You're scaring away all my business.
To fall for such a trick, however, and he immediately ordered the ship to heave to. Despite a last-ditch effort by the Axis merchantmen to blow up their own ship, their vessel was captured without incident. In other global news, snow and near-zero weather in Russia halted Nazi troops dead in their tracks. More bad news for the Axis as the British began an offensive in North Africa along the 130-mile Libya line. Score 1 for Hitler, though. Wire reports confirmed that the Australian cruiser Sydney was sunk by a German raider disguised as a Dutch merchant ship. I guess our mates down under could use a few lessons from our own boys at sea. In Washington today, Subaru Kurusu, Japan's new and super special envoy to the United States, is set to begin a round of talks with the State Department. These talks come right on the heels of Tojo's stinging remarks regarding Roosevelt's Pacific policy. With the Pacific crisis nearing its breaking point, officials in Washington hope that Kurusu, Japan's pinch hitter on the diplomatic diamond, can head
What's your name?
a military confrontation.
Who wants to know?
My name's Jim Pearson. I'm from the COI.
A recent survey of 59
Well, have a seat, Jimbo.
publishers for the Interventionist Continental Congress for Freedom.
The name's Winslow.
Surprising opinion.
Dick Winslow.
The newspaper
Nice to meet you, Mr. Winslow. What brings you here?
Oh, no need to be so formal. You can call me Dick.
administration's foreign policy and a repeal of the Neutrality Act.
I'm just here for a drink.
The so-called
Really?
isolationist Midwest exists only
This
in
just
the minds
doesn't
of
seem like your type of place.
failed to keep
Oh,
abreast
why
of
not?
a great surge
Can't a working Joe like me go out for a drink? Can't he try someplace new?
Well, you just seem a little overdressed, is all.
ran high that John L. Lewis will call an end
Guilty
to
as
the
charged,
strike
sport.
after 12
Not a bad bit of deduction, that.
during riots.
Oh, well, I might as well confess. You're right.
Hero in Jerry the Superdog. The lovable
I'm with the
Harvey
FBI.
Stalking awoke 60
Really?
families residing in apartments
What are you doing
along
here?
an Upper East
Staking the
Side.
place out. I thought I might get a lead on the torso killer, but I haven't had much luck yet.
After seeing everyone to safety, Jerry left the burning building.
But you're new here, aren't you?
Yeah, I just started.
Oh, you don't say. And, what brings you here to McGinty's, Jimbo?
Well, I'm working on an investigation of my own.
Oh, really? How interesting.
In local news, prominent
Did someone steal some plans for a secret weapon? Huh? Or commit an act of sabotage, perhaps?
No, nothing like that. I'm looking into a group of possible German subversives.
Freedom Day rally at
Well.
Public Hall.
Perhaps your men are on our little German blacklist.
Freedom-conscious Clevelanders condemned
You mean they haven't told you about that?
and called for an end.
Your office should have a copy. Really, I'd complain to my superiors right away.
Friends,
How can a new agent hope to succeed without the necessary tools?
What is this list?
today, the Barons extend
It's a
their
list
streak to
of
7
suspicious
wins,
Americans of German
the
descent.
Washington Lions 3-0
FBI's been keeping
in an
tabs on
American
them for a while now.
game.
Oh, it wouldn't take much for some of them to sell out Uncle Sam for
Management indicates
Uncle Adolf, huh?
Thanks for the information, Dick. This list might come in handy.
smiling Lou Boudreaux
Well,
to a
I should be going now.
to manage
Listen,
hometown
sport.
boys. If such
You're
a
new
move
here,
goes through,
so I'll give you one little
this
bit
would
of free
make Boudreaux
advice.
the youngest man to ever manage
Some of the people in your
the
department have
club.
stepped on some toes, so
We now return you
do be
to the
careful where you
magical
put your foot
melodies
down.
of Mel Fritz.
I'll remember that.
it was a pleasure to meet you, Jimbo. Hey, drop by my office anytime.
Thanks, Dick. I just may take you up on that.
Look, I don't mean to be critical, Jimbo, but the people around here are going to be afraid to open up to me if they see me talking to a Fed.
Sorry, Dick. I won't bother you.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
Sir, is it true that the FBI has made a list of suspicious German Americans?
Who have you been talking to?
Special Agent Winslow, sir.
Oh, yes, Agent Winslow. It's true, we do have such a list. When France fell to the Germans, a lot of people felt that it must be due to the work of a fifth column of spies and traitors. And it got the boys in Washington thinking that if we weren't careful, things might happen the same way here. And, well, Mr. Hoover and his FBI set to work, watching anyone they felt could betray their own countrymen. Naturally, important Americans of German descent were watched most closely.
Could I get a look at it, sir? I believe there might be a connection between some of the names on that list and the case that I'm investigating.
Just remember, son, it's possible that any of these men on that list are hard-working Americans, no different than you or I. Don't go off all half-cocked simply because Hoover's men put a name on a list.
Yes, sir.
Come in.
I met Special Agent Winslow in McGinney's bar. If he's the best the FBI has to offer you, well, you're in a whole lot of trouble.
What the hell was he doing in McGinty's bar? Oh, Pressing the palms of the less fortunate for when he runs for mayor?
Well, he said he was working undercover, trying to track down a lead on the torso killer. He stood out like a sore thumb.
He's about as likely to find the killer in McGinty's as my grandmother is to win the Kentucky Derby.
Mr. Fenster? Yeah. I wonder what sort of artifacts Mr. Penske wanted Professor Strauss to look at.
What a bunch of gibberish.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso.
Come in.
Hello? Museum of Natural History. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm Agent Jim Pearson with the COI. I was trying to reach a Professor Strauss.
Professor Strauss is not in. You're from Mr. Penske's office, aren't you?
Yes, sir, sort of. I wanted to...
Professor Strauss is away on business. I'll be sure to leave him a message.
Thanks. Sir?
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
When I arrived back at my office, there was another message from the museum. Whatever had been going on between Walter Penske and Dr. Strauss seemed to be pretty important to both of them. Since I didn't have any more leads on my own investigation, and since Strauss's name did appear on the FBI's blacklist, along with Hank Finster's, I thought I might as well check into it.
Come in.
Excuse me, are you Miss Strauss?
I'm Helen Strauss.
Hi, how do you do? I'm Jim Pearson from the COI. I came across your name at work, and I was hoping, I was hoping you might be able to help me.
I'd love to. That is, if I can.
What is it exactly your father does, Helen?
Why? Didn't Mr. Penske tell you?
I'm afraid I've never met Mr. Penske.
But don't you... I'm afraid I don't understand. Didn't Mr. Penske send you?
I've replaced Mr. Penske. I found the message you left for him, and, well, I was hoping you might be able to tell me what he needed to see your father about.
He wanted my father to examine some artifacts he'd found on an investigation of his. As far as I know, they never did meet. My father was called away suddenly on business, and I didn't want to leave Mr. Penske in the lurch. That's why I volunteered to help. If I could, of course.
What is it you do here, Helen?
Well, I'm just a graduate student intern here now, but one day I'm going to run this museum, or one just like it anyway. They've got such a wonderful display of Central European artifacts from the Middle Ages. Well, that's my area of study, Central European history, and I'm sorry, I'm sure you're not interested in listening to me babble. I could so just go on and on about my work.
Oh, that's okay, Professor.
My father's the professor.
And I just bet you're a chip off the old block. Do you suppose that these are the artifacts that Mr. Penske wanted to speak to your father about?
Why, yes, I believe they are. Mr. Penske told my father there were inscriptions on them. These are runes. Norse runes, I'm sure of it.
Norse runes?
Yes, Norse. The ancient Scandinavians, the Swedes, the Danes, the Germans. You probably know of them as Vikings. We still see many of their roots today. For example, Wednesday is a derivative of Woden's Day or Odin's Day. And then there's...
Whoa. Slow down, Professor. Are you trying to tell me that these runes are an ancient form of Germanic writing?
Yes, that's right. The runes are a sort of alphabet. Some people also use the symbols to represent words, like the Egyptian hieroglyphics.
These pieces look like they interlock somehow. Do you think you could help me figure out the order?
Sure, I'd love to.
What about these parchments here? They're the same runes, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Someone's already begun a translation of them. 9 gifts to Odin. That generally would have meant a sacrifice of some sort.
A sacrifice? What sort of sacrifice?
Well, usually a human sacrifice. The Vikings would choose 9 strong men and hang them. Sometimes they behead them. As often as not, it merely meant an animal sacrifice.
Go on.
Well, it's hard to tell. These sheets are just fragments. I'd need some time.
All right. I'll check back later then.
Come in.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by 2 children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified. Meanwhile, in news from around the world,
What do you make of the crest on this letterhead?
Wait a minute. That's funny. It's the same crest as the Sergeant-at-Arms.
Are you telling me that the Finster family used to be a part of this group of pagan knights?
No, not Finster, the Finster Law family. They probably Americanized it when they came to this country. Many immigrants did. Here, take a look for yourself. This book's got the crests and the family names of all the Germanic knights. The pagan knights are in here as well.
Thanks, Helen. This might come in handy. Were you able to figure out how those rune pieces assemble?
I'm sorry, I haven't. They all seem to fit together. There could be hundreds of possibilities. I imagine there's some sort of sequence. The runes seem to suggest some sort of message when assembled, but without a proper key to their order, it would be impossible to figure out the right one. I'm sorry I couldn't be of more help.
No, you've done a fine job. At least now I have some idea of where to begin.
I've had more luck with the parchments.
What'd you make of them?
Well, it's very odd. It threw me at first, but I figured out that the text, though written in runes, could be read phonetically in English. It turns out that it looks like they were describing some sort of ritual, and two of them, in fact, one to summon Odin and one to grant the powers of Odin. They seemed to revolve these rituals around three objects of power. One was a wise man's skull, one was a cup made from ashwood, and the third object wasn't as clear. It was Talia's dark prison. Dahlia was the name of a seer, a muse. Does any of that mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Oh, well, there's a book on Old Norse legends on the shelf if you think that would help.
Thanks, Helen.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim discovered
Excuse
by
me.
2 children playing
I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to be a foreman at the Finster Munitions factory. Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Who's asking?
I'm Jim Pearson from the COI. I was told he might be able to help me find...
Louis.
Louis?
This is about the creep that gave Finster that piece of paper, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, you must be George.
Yeah, I'm George.
What can you tell me about this Louis? You have a last name?
I suppose so, don't everybody? I don't know what it is, though, mister.
Is Louis a friend of yours?
That rat, I didn't know him from Adam a few weeks ago.
How'd you meet him?
Me and some of the fellows was in here blowing off steam after payday last month. This guy Louis was in here. He starts talking, I start to feel kind of bad for him. He says he's a little down and out right now, but all he needs is some prospects and he'll be back up on his feet again. I tell him I got some pull down at the factory. Maybe I can get him in to see Mr. Finster. Maybe he can get a job.
You didn't ask him about a job, though, did he?
Nah. He gets in there and starts talking up that secret brotherhood crap. Next thing I know, Louis headed out the door and Finster's busting his gasket. I lost my job, I lost my house, and I lost my wife, and it's all on account of that Louis.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find this Louis now?
Oh, buddy, don't I wish. If I could find him, I'd break his lousy neck.
Do you remember anything else about him?
No.
You said you were in here with your buddies. Would any of them remember anything?
I don't know. I'll ask around, see if I can help you out. Stop back later.
Thanks, George. You've been a big help.
With the Pacific crisis nearing its breaking point, officials in Washington hope that Kurusu, Japan's pinch hitter on the diplomatic diamond, can head off a military conflict.
I'll be talking to the boys later.
Okay, George, I'll stop back later then.
A recent survey of 59 Midwestern editors and publishers for the interventionist Continental Congress for Freedom displayed surprising opinions. The newspaper head honchos reported that their communities were now overwhelmingly in favor of the administration's foreign policy and a repeal of the Neutrality Act. Said one editor, "The so-called isolationist Midwest exists only in the minds of congressmen who have failed to keep abreast of a great surge of public opinion during recent months." In other national news, hopes ran high that John L. Lewis will call an end to the coal mine strike after 12 striking miners were shot during riots. New York has a new hero in Jerry the Super Dog. The lovable collie's barking.
Come in.